Welcome, everyone, to Lunch with LINC. Today is January 4th, 2023. Holy cow. And if this is your first time joining Lunch with LINC, it is a bi-weekly program that happens every other Wednesday, where we invite guests to join us to talk about independent living, talk about access, and really share resources and information for our community. And we are so excited today. We have Dianna Willis joining us. Dianna, it's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
And Dianna is joining us today. She's a repeat guest on the show. She's joining us today to talk about a really cool thing we have coming up here during the legislative session called Operation Advocacy. And so we're very excited to have Dianna join us and talk about this very exciting thing coming here in Idaho. We would also, one more programming note, for those who are watching this live, we also have an opportunity on our YouTube, LINC Idaho TV, where we will have this up shortly with corrected captioning. So we, of course, want to welcome back our ASL interpreter, Fran. So Fran, it's nice to see you, and a great day when we get to kick off the new year with some of our favorite ASL interpreters. So Dianna, you've been to the show before, so thank you for coming back.
Thank you. It's so great to be in person with you.
I know, we are sharing an office, guys, so we are sharing a screen, and we're very excited to have Dianna, because we get to not only hear about what Dianna has for lunch, which is always super healthy, but we also get to hear some updates about you personally and professionally, which I think are super exciting. So let's start with lunch, Dianna. What are you having?
Yeah, today I have an apple, which is also my guide dog's favorite snack, so I'll be sharing. And then I have like a pita pocket that I made homemade. It's gluten-free and it's filled with spinach and cheese. So.
Wow. Do you make the pita homemade?
Yeah, I make it's kind of like a pizza dough, but then I can make it into a pita pocket. So it was just by luck that happened.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love it. And I love that you can I can't make dough or bread or any of that. So yeah, that's impressive. So Dianna, the apple, I have to tell you about a TikTok I saw the other day, since you brought it up. By the way, LINC has a TikTok. Shout out to our IL team. LINC Idaho is on the TikTok. The tiki-taki. I don't know if that's an actual word, but Dianna, I was looking at this TikTok and it was making me very happy, because there was this big golden retriever and it was big and bushy, and there was a little puppy next to it, and the puppy was trying to eat an apple and the apple couldn't, it was too big, and so the puppy got distracted and went away. But the adult golden retriever, the big one that I'm assuming was its mom, but I'm making assumptions, it might have just been a nice adult dog that was watching the puppy, I don't know, but then it like bit it up, didn't eat any of the apple, and then went and got the puppy so that it could eat it. And it was so sweet. And then it just sat over it and protected it so it could eat it.
That is adorable.
I have never seen a dog eat an apple before the TikTok though. So Tegan, your guide dog, likes the apples.
Yeah, favorite snack of all time.
Who knew? Who knew? Well, Dianna, you can smell my meal, I'm assuming. Can you smell it?
Yeah, it smells good.
Yeah, we're having some white bean chicken chili. Brought to you by Chef Brett Nalen again. So he made dinner last night. So good. And I'm very excited to warm that up, and it's a nice winter comfort food.
Yeah, I love chicken chili.
Yeah, and I love white beans. I don't know if that's in your repertoire of things you like to eat. Yeah,
absolutely.
Guys, Dianna and I have some very exciting news for you. And we kind of queued it up, but Dianna works for LINC now.
Woohoo! Yeah, I am full-time.
Yes,
disability independent living specialist in Boise.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
we are so fortunate to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's amazing to be here with this team. That's so positive and so talented. So thank you.
she adds to our talent, guys. So at the end of the day, well, Dianna, so your role here as an IL specialist, I mean, I feel like you've always worked here, just I think because our paths cross a lot in your community engagement. But can you talk about when you started and kind of what you've been working on? I mean, I know it hasn't been too long, but because you're so familiar, you really got to jump right in.
Yeah, for the past 2 months, I've been in the full-time position as the disability IL specialist in Boise. And I've had the opportunity to focus in on promoting systems advocacy opportunities for people with disabilities. And that's been really exciting because it really combines my interest in working with individuals and also with systems change, and legislative advocacy is one of my passions. So it's been really excellent to get to work with the LINC team to start coordinating Operation Advocacy.
Yeah, which we're going to talk about Operation Advocacy here very shortly, because it is something that is a statewide effort, which is very, very exciting for us. What, when you're working through this purpose of why we do this systems advocacy and what really that is, how important it is around independent living, you know, what have you, if anything, what did you bring, or maybe what are some of the things that you were like, oh, now that I'm here, I can see it this way?
Yeah, I think so. Thinking about systems advocacy, breaking it down, it's often defined as, you know, increasing political and economic power for people with disabilities. And what I really have been thinking about in terms of the IL independent living philosophy is the addition to that statement is so that individuals with disabilities can choose the life that they want to have. So it's economic and political power for the purpose of having the life you want for yourself and your family and your community.
Yes, I love that. And what I'm really excited for is we've got a couple of things since you've come on. You know, we've talked about SALT, so self-advocacy leadership training program. And we've had a team that's been working on that. And now, you know, you've added to that and we've got some more things. I mean, we've been doing that for a while and it's been such a success. Are you guys working on anything around that?
We are. We're developing a new SALT program, and it is going to focus on the other piece of, so in terms of systems advocacy, you can think of talking with your legislators. But then another piece of that is having people with disabilities at the table where decisions are made. So SALT 2, which may be named that or have a different name, will focus on, you know, getting people with disabilities the confidence, the skills, the readiness to join boards, commissions, committees, councils in their community. And so that's really exciting and a really critical piece of systems advocacy.
Yeah, Dianna, I'm so glad that you shared that with us. You know, we've been preparing for Operation Advocacy, and one thing we've been doing is meeting with so many partners, and we're so fortunate in Idaho to have so many partners. And one particular one that we met with just yesterday, who I respect greatly as someone that's a strategy expert and works with the legislature on this, you know, she was reminding us to take up the space in the Capitol building and that we belonged there and we all belong there. And I think part of that excitement around SALT 2 or whatever it may be called, which you get some really hot news on Lunch with LINC, guys. So hopefully you should tell your friends to tune in. But that piece of, you know, that remembering that we're a people's legislature. So people in that building that are about to go to session and be in session starting on the 9th here, I think they do, they have jobs. They're, you know, they run farms, they are salesmen, they're insurance agents, they're saleswomen, you know, I mean, there's a number of occupations there. And so for us to show up as a disability community to educate them about things that maybe they didn't know because it's not their expertise, but also to remember that we can be in those seats too.
Yes.
And it's important for us to be at that table because everybody has to learn when they're in that position, because that's how you can be in that position really well. So it sounds like that's kind of like you could be on your local board, you could be in your state senate, that's some pretty powerful things we're going to hear, I think.
Yeah, and I think too, it could be, joining a political campaign or a temporary task force that the city may have over an issue of maybe someone with disabilities has a real passion for the environment or for education. So it's also, I think, expanding our idea of where people with disabilities fit in. And it's not just the task force on disability. It's on all the other areas in our community where we have an interest and we should be there. And so we need to start working with our community to get that, just that knowledge and that confidence, because I know for me, I had an opportunity to work on a steering committee for a city council campaign, and it was really life-changing because I got to work with a real diverse group of people, and this person intentionally brought different diverse voices to the table, and it gave me the confidence that I had a place in politics and in advocating for my community and for myself. So
I love that. And it is so important. I mean, if you think about parks and recreation, if you're someone who's a parent or someone who cares for kids, to be able to access those city parks or go and do Frisbee golf, you might want to be on a parks committee and a task force that isn't, like you said, this is the disability task force. No, this is the Parks and Recs task force. And we'd like to talk about the parks. And I am a person with a disability with some really positive perspectives. So I love that, because so often we do end up on these councils that are specific around disability. And we forget that we can actually be a part of the councils that are just about community, because we're all a part of it.
Yeah, and there are advantages of, being on a council or committee with, for people with disabilities, for sure, because it kind of creates a power or a voice, an organized voice. And so there's definitely room for all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's just expanding that to the world that we exist in, right? So not
options and opportunities.
We love options and opportunities. Yes. I have commitment issues though. Leanne does. So sometimes too many options is hard.
Me too.
I can eliminate some of those, right? I'm not a big Frisbee golf fan, so I probably not be doing it. It takes too long. So we're not just here to talk about these great things coming down the way and Dianna's incredible, exciting news that she now gets to work with us 40 hours a week and sometimes more, just to connect with us, because you have added so much depth even to our team, and your knowledge and your experience from an education standpoint, and also from a lived experience standpoint, has been critical to, I think, really filling out our team. So officially and on the public live stream, welcome, Dianna. We're very excited to have you. And one of the things we're working on, because this is kind of tricky because you are a contractor for us already, right? So we feel like you've been always a part of our team. But one thing that you worked on with us was a barriers to service, really doing a lot of research about learning about what barriers to service individuals have, and the caregivers that are there to support that position and those needs in the community. And now you're really helping out, and we have a committee of a group of great people, but this Operation Advocacy that has kind of developed and flowered from that, really, a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Last year we started the Barriers to Services questionnaire, and also last March had Day of Action, where we supported people to make calls with their legislators around the direct care worker crisis. And that, the next step, with this year is Operation Advocacy. And this event is going to be held February 20th and 21st at the First Presbyterian Church in downtown Boise and at the Capitol. And it's in conjunction or in alignment with the Fred Rutgers Disability Awareness Day.
Yay, we love that day.
And which is on February 21st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., I believe, at the Idaho Capitol. And really the goal of Operation Advocacy is to, mobilize people with disabilities, their family members, their direct care workers, for example, friends, allies, everyone is invited to register for Operation Advocacy. And it is I'll say like a 2-day training and advocacy opportunity to talk with your legislator or to, call or email your legislator in a supported and really positive environment.
Yeah, and it's so exciting, you guys. We already have around 40 plus people registered. They're coming statewide. We've got some people from where I went to college in Pocatello, Idaho, that I know are coming down. And it's really exciting to be, I think LINC has a unique position in our state because we are part of our service area is the Capitol. And so we get the opportunity to bring in members from, other service areas and work with our sister SILs and our partners to really come together and provide, like you said, Dianna, this opportunity for people to practice and learn really on those first days, and then to help tell their story in a way that works for them. And I know there's, we're still creating finalizing that agenda, but I know there's opportunities for how do you craft an email? How do you, let's set a meeting up with your legislature, like these components, and then to be able to do it with a group of people and learn how to craft your own story. It's like a mini little version of SALT. But if you have an important issue like transportation or education or public lands, I'm a huge public lands fan, right? There's an opportunity to learn about how you can share that at this Operation Advocacy.
I think that's true. And then it's an opportunity to build relationships. So
it's my favorite, Dianna.
Me too. To build relationships with the community, the disability community, our allies and partners who have been just amazing and generous with their knowledge and resources, and then also to build relationships with legislators. And because I from our conversations in our planning meetings, that is really key. So understanding that legislators are people too, and that it takes time and effort and persistence and a plan really to start building those relationships. And then also to know that, it's very kind of lonely and difficult to do this work by yourself. Not that it can't be done, but it's a lot more, supported, exciting. If you have some discouraging feedback, you have people who can support you to keep you going and understand that this is a long game, and that, as you said before, we need to be there in the Capitol. We need to have a presence.
Yeah, because we're all over, right? We have issues that need to be heard. And I love that because it is building relationships. And you put it so wonderfully about, we're building relationships within our community. We're building relationships with Idahoans that maybe live in rural communities, and some of us may be in more of an urban setting, but that doesn't mean we can't have a relationship or we can't have that connection, and that, because we're bringing people from all over. And there's two types of people in the world, Dianna. My friends and people who don't know they're my friends yet. So I hope many of you consider registering for this. How do they get more information, Dianna?
Go to the LINC website and register there, and it's free, which is great too. So registration is free. And then in the next couple of weeks, someone from LINC will be reaching out and asking questions about possible challenges you may have to attending, and how best you can show up, and how, what issues you may be facing that you'd really like to bring to the training, whether it's direct care worker shortage, or if it's education, transportation. We'd like to know what's on your mind and what's important.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this kind of work, is the number of people who come bring the diversity in the topics too. So we all get to learn a little something that maybe we have a resource for. So even when we reach out to you, if you want to register to build just the community because you're comfortable in that state house, which some people are. I know that's crazy. Some people like it. Dianna and I like it. We hang out there. But that if you are comfortable, don't hesitate to register either, because you're a resource, right? And so we can do some education. We can, as you mentioned, allies. It's all inclusive, and we do want to know what accommodations people need so that you can fully participate. So the earlier you register and identify that, either when you register or when we do that follow-up call, it will help us prepare for a really positive experience for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what I love about it is the building the relationships, and that we're empowering an entire state here. And it isn't about anything other than helping educate and then helping people find their place of where they want to contribute in a meaningful way.
Yeah, and going back to the IL philosophy, it's individual's choice, like how they communicate with the legislator. Because as we've learned from some of our partners, a really effective phone message can be incredibly effective. And also the one-on-one in-person meetings at the legislature is also incredibly effective. And then understanding that, that it's not just doing it one time, it's learning about your legislators and policymakers and continuing that conversation.
Yeah, and they're your neighbors. So we're very excited to have you all come. We've got about 5 minutes left, Dianna. So I definitely want to make sure I haven't missed anything, any of the highlights you wanted to visit about.
I think I hit everything. If there's anything else you can think of, I'm happy to answer. I just think I'm just really thrilled with the positive attitude that LINC has towards making change and bringing people together, and that connection to our community, and understanding that, the diversity is where the power is, and that we don't have to be perfect in this pursuit of trying to advocate for change with the Idaho legislature, that we just need to show up, and we need to work together and know that our voices all matter.
Dianna, that is so lovely said. And I think it ties back nicely to what you mentioned about, how we're building these relationships with folks and having people come, but also that event on the, we've got this 2-day event. We will have someone from Fred Rigger's Day on to give you guys some highlights, because it is really one of our favorite days, Disability Awareness Day. So it's also why it's a great alignment for some of this, because sometimes we feel isolated, and sometimes we feel like we're the only one fighting a particular fight. And suddenly when we start talking about it, and when we start to have that confidence, sometimes people are like, I didn't even know that was a fight, and I get it, and I want to join you. Like, I want to help elevate that conversation. And other times it's, I've been working on that too. And then you've got them working on one angle, you've worked on another angle, and then you put them together and you've got double work by two people.
Power.
Yeah, with that collaboration. So it really is so powerful to have that opportunity to come together and relate, because when you struggle is struggle, and when you're trying to make change, especially in a systems change way, it is a couple year process. And so having that group and those allies that may be working on different things, we've talked to many of our partners that work on issues that are economic in nature or public lands in nature and some other things to help gain from their knowledge, not because, and they're encouraging us, right? They're saying, bring your community in, we've got you, we'll come visit. And that is community, right? And it's such a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, Idaho's really unique, I think, and special that way, because all across the state, we have allies and people who are just incredibly generous and supportive. And that's what I've really learned in the last year working on barriers to services with LINC.
Yeah. Everyone has room to grow. And what's great is when we grow together, we just grow even more. So we're learning from them. I am confident they're learning things from our community as well, because we've got some really great things and resources available. So it really is a win-win when you collaborate with folks that are open to that.
So join us, get registered.
Yeah, that was Dianna's call out action. Join us, get registered. Yeah, Dianna, thank you for joining us. It's very fun to have you in the office and also have you here sharing a screen with me.
Thank you. I didn't have to do Zoom myself.
No. We can eliminate stressful barriers as well, because sometimes it's just too stressful. Well, guys, next week we are going to have a really exciting guest as well. And they're going to talk about a really great program for caregivers and hiking for it's called Hike to Heal. And so we're very excited to have them here. You know, I love the outdoors and I love recreation. So it'll be exciting to hear about what they're offering our community and resources that they have, because there is a bit of healing that happens when you take a second and sit in nature. So excited to have them on. Dianna, thank you for joining us. And guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. So for now, we say ciao for now.